Hey Drow, welcome to Horsehead Bookends for another Gaming Friday. It has been a while since I've done a quick playthrough and review, but today we are going to do, finally, Chronicles of Drunagor by Creative Game Studios. Chronicles of Drunagor is an epic 1-to-5 player, I think it's 5 player. You can definitely play up to 5, I'm not sure if you can do more. A 1-to-5 player epic dungeon crawl fantasy style game where you play through a storyline with 3D terrain and try to stop, I think, the darkness. I've yet to play this game. I've had it for quite some time. I did an unbox and you can check it out, but this game has a ton of stuff that came along with it for the Kickstarter edition that I backed. So what we're doing today, one thing that I do like when you have these epic role-playing games, they do give you a quick start guide where they kind of hold your hand and walk you through, I would assume, the entire first scenario, at least the first mission, and everything is pretty detailed in here. I did have some issues with the directions, the way they were written. They were a little confusing, but I'm not sure if that is because they were written bad or I just didn't understand them. So right now I have the game set up on the table for a one-player game. We are going to go through this beginner's guide and play a few rounds and see how it works. So let's head over there and check it out. Okay, so we do have Chronicles of Drunagor set up for a one-player game based off of this start guide, and we are going to follow through what's in the guide and basically how to play. We have our player board right here with our action cubes. We have our armor and our weapons, the starting weapon, starting armor, which they tell you to select. And we also have the your skill cards, or I think they're your role cards as what role you want to play. And they suggest to start with the defender. So that's what we're doing. These trays, I believe, were an optional purchase for the Kickstarter. I don't know if they're still available, but I really like the way they're laid out, and it's really nice. The setup actually did take me a lot of time to pull out everything because there is so much in this game. If you just probably got the base game, it probably wouldn't be too bad, but this actually took me quite a while to go through everything. My character is right here. There is one skeleton archer, which they tell you to spawn. And I think the objective is to kill him and get to door number 1. We also have the rule book and also the adventure book handy in case we need to reference it. And I believe we will have to quite a bit. Over here is the enemy health track. Depending on how many enemies spawn, you give them a colored ring. On the skeleton archer, it's yellow. So he is set for 6 health. And over on the left-hand side, you see the initiative track. Depending on the character you pick, I am Warren, who is a dwarf warrior. That's who they suggest you start with. Since he is a defender, he starts in the first position. And based on the enemy, who the skeleton archer is, there is a symbol with a color associated with it. And that's where they are on the initiative track. So after you do your turn, and you move down the initiative track, the enemies take their turns, or the other people that you're playing with take their turns. I apologize for the reflection on here right now. It's just the way my light is set up. I don't have any external light helping me. Here are your different action cubes, which you slot into different spots to take different actions. And same with your armor and your weapons if they have some sort of special ability or reaction-based movement, which is symbolized by a little lightning bolt on the card itself. On your turn, you take 3 hero actions. One is movement, which you can move up to 3 squares in any direction, I believe. And then you get to spend up to 2 action cubes. Aside from the 2 action cubes, you could also take minor actions, which could be exchanging items, interacting with a point of interaction, which are little magnifying glass tokens. You can open a door, you can search a chest, you can use a focus ability, which I don't think I have right now, or you can use a consumable item. Now, once you've spent all your action cubes, you will have to take a recall action where you get your action cubes back, but you do need to slot in a black cube, which is a curse, and it basically eats up one of your action slots. So, using this guide right here, we're gonna get started. Okay, since it's my turn, my first thing to do is to move. So I am going to move 3 spaces closer to the skeleton archer. Now, since he is primarily a melee character, I am out of range to attack him. So for my first of 2 actions, I am going to use Bulrush, which I get to move 3 up to 2 target adjacent enemies, and they get 2 damage. So I get to move 3 extra spaces, and I get to target 2 adjacent enemies for 2 damage. So I slot my little cube right in there, and I'm going to move 1 space up here, and then I do 2 damage to the skeleton archer. So that moves him down to 4 health. Now, I still have 1 more action, so I think I am going to melee the skeleton archer by using my yellow melee cubes. I think that goes right there. Oh, no, I was wrong. I am going to use this action right here. I don't think you have to put a cube in there. Yellow is your melee. I am going to use Arcing Swing, which is a cleave 2, and I get +3 to hit. So the jagged blade axe, I need to hit with a 7, but I get +2 to my dice roll, so I would have to roll greater than a 7 to actually hit him. And they do, oh, cleave 2. I'm not sure what that is, but it also shows you right here what the damage is on the jagged blade axe. If it would focus in, there we go. 7 to hit, and it does 3 damage. So let's roll. I have an 18, 19, 20, 21. So I definitely hit him, and I do 3 damage to him, which puts him down at 1 health. Now that my turn is over, it is time now for the monster's turn. So you can see the monster card right here. It has all the information. He has a movement of 4. He attacks for 3. He needs to be range 1, multi-shot 2, and he gets a poison of 1. So he needs to be at least 1 space away from Vorn. So he is going to move right there, because now he is 1 cube away, so he could use his range attack, and he is going to try to attack me. But I do have my armor has a reaction symbol on it, and I'll show you that right here, which is that little lightning bolt. So the skeleton archer is going to try to attack me for 3. I am going to use Endure, and I have to use slot a cube in there, and it looks like I can slot any color. Yellow, red, blue, or green. Red, I believe, are for ranged attacks, and Vorn doesn't really have many of them, so why not just waste the red cube on that? And I prevent 3 damage, so nothing really happens, and I should actually move this initiative track marker to here, but we go through the end. There's no other people playing, there's no other monsters out, and it comes back to me. So now it is Vorn's turn again. I get to move 3. I'm going to move right up next to the skeleton archer again, and this time I am going to use my blue, which I think are spells. I'm going to use Whirlwind of Steel, which gives me an extra shield of 2, and it also does 1 damage. So the skeleton archer has now been defeated. And I also get 2 shield tokens. So I did move, I did use 1 action, I do have an extra action yet left, but I do not need it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a minor action to open this door right here. And this is what's really nice, I think, about Chronicles of Drunagor, is that all these doors are little cards, and once you open them up, not only do they have a QR code to make the game more interesting once you played through the regular game, you have the story here, which you can read, and then they tell you how to set up for the next dungeon, which is all written in here. It tells you exactly what to do, and they tell you special rules about the next part of the game. Now we're set up for the second part based on what was in this door right here, and as you can see, we added some more to the map, and we have a veteran shadow cultist there as well. It seems like the game does, after the very beginning adventure, it ramps up pretty quickly. We also have our first investigation token on the board as well. So what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to pause. Let's go back and let's discuss Chronicles of Drunagor. Okay, so that was the very first round of Chronicles of Drunagor by Creative Games Studios. Now, the very first scenario is extremely simple. It's to ease you into the game and how to play it and your actions and everything like that. I'm a huge fan of dungeon crawls, and especially a good epic dungeon crawl adventure. So how does it stack up with some of the other ones that have come out recently and some of the more popular ones? And 2 off the top of my head I can think of is the Brand New Descent, which I did an unboxing of, and I've played the first round in that as well. And the other one I can think of is Gloomhaven, which is a huge epic dungeon crawl role-playing game. I would have to fit this somewhere between both of them. All 3 have their pros and cons. Descent is extremely easy to set up. The hardest part about Descent is building the cardboard 3D pieces, but Descent plays really quick, it's very easy to learn, and it's a lot of fun. Gloomhaven, on the other hand, is a little more harder to set up, but everything flows very nicely. It seems like the game is very intuitive, and it makes the adventure a lot of fun. In my multiple weeks of reading the rulebook over and over again for Drunagor, the setup is extremely difficult. It took me a very long time, especially with the pieces. And then getting to when you unlock a door and open up more of the dungeon, it's a lot of, okay, let's wait, let's get all these pieces, let's make sure everything's right, and then set it up. And it seems like, in the very beginning at least, they're throwing a whole lot at you at once, and sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to digest. I did go a little further in the gameplay than what I showed on film, but I did stop because I was getting a little confused about what I could do. And I understand that the start guide does hold your hand through it. At the same time, you start thinking, well, what if I could do this and what I can do this other thing? And it's, hand holding is good up to a certain point, and there comes time where you just want to let go and you want to explore the game by yourself. And I think for Drunagor, it is taking a little longer than I would personally like, but I am going to stick with it and keep on playing the scenarios, hopefully get some more people here and play them in a multiplayer setting to see how it works out, if it's any better, if it's a little more fun. But just as a solo experience, I'm not super thrilled, but I don't hate it at the same time. It's definitely something that I am going to keep playing, and I will definitely revisit and possibly do another review, maybe halfway or maybe when I finish the campaign, and let you know exactly what I think about it. But for right now, if you're looking for a really heavy, I guess you can say, dungeon crawl, I would probably tell you to go to Gloomhaven. And if you want something a little easier and more manageable, I would say go to Descent. So while I do like it, I don't know if this is going to be a dungeon crawl for everybody. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please don't forget to click on subscribe, ring the notification bell. You get notified anytime I upload a new video. Any questions or comments, or you want to see a little more of the game, or you have a question about it, please post below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, talk to you later.